Did a pretty good job, Graham, against Zimbabwe. Came on when they were trying to push it along and picked up 2 vital wickets and consecutive balls, which slowed things down. Attempted heave over mid-on, but 6 runs from it. Not a bad thing, though, to take the pace off the ball in one-day cricket, just to vary it, keep chopping and changing, so batsmen find it difficult to get set.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Adams has realised he's found it quite difficult to get these England seamers away, and I think he could see a few big shots against Hick if he bowls any type of lengthy spell. But it might just do the trick. Something's got to happen. West Indies need to get over that 200-run mark at least. And they haven't got many overs to get there. So something will snap. Either Hick will go for a lot of runs, or there could be a wicket or 2.
Bad shot, he's just not finding the gaps at the moment. Salman, but well, I've seen of him, I'm quite impressed. He looks pretty well organised, he's uncomplicated. Good concentration, watching it all the way onto the bat. As I speak, slower ball goes for the big booming cover drive. I think on the inside edge, I think onto the leg stump. So, the young man's first adventure into one-day cricket comes to an end with the bat. I suppose you have to give credit to Craig White. I thought it was a good piece of bowling. Change of pace again.
Yeah, good change of pace. Someone trying to force it. And, for the second time today, we see a bit of real bad luck. Sherwin Campbell's come for his elbow. This one's come off the back of the bat and removed one bail.
When it rains, it pours. And the rest of one goes for 20. In what can be described as very unlucky circumstances. 101 for 4.
Did you know that Nike shoes, Apple computer, and even Atros Pro?
Batsmen, Sherwin Campbell and Ramnaresh Sarwan. Now, this is the first one. This was Sherwin Campbell, and he plays it into the ground, bounces up, hits his elbow, and drops on off stump. Now, that's unlucky enough, but then Sarwan gets the big drive, it bounces up, hits the back of the bat, and goes onto the stumps. He couldn't do that if he tried. If you offered him £1 million to do that again, I swear to you, he would not be able to do it.
Well, that's the only thing he'll be pleased about, is that'll be the only time he ever gets out in that fashion.
Carter Powell off mark straight away.
We're going to have one more look at this. This really is unlucky. It's a full follow through. Should have played the check drive.
Disbelief. Don't worry, it won't happen again. A variation of pace again then from Craig White. That was another slower ball.
Ricardo Powell, a new man at the wicket. He's only 21 as well, so a bit of youth in the middle order here for the West Indies. Someone played pretty well for his 20, showed some good signs. Another good slow ball by Craig White.
There you go, from mid-80s down to slowest of 68, which is that last slow ball. This one, I would think, probably a quicker delivery. That's good bowling. Was one from it and a wicket. It's 102 for 4.
Franks are coming on from the Trevilian end.
Oh, Chloe for one. That's centre. That's one. Thanks.
Well, just 19 overs to go. And the West Indies have plenty of work to do. To talk you through the next half hour, all outs with Bob Willis.
Thank you, Ian. Paul Franks is coming back on at the pavilion end, 4 overs for 21 in his first spell. Looked as though when he was bowling with Darren Gough at the start of the innings, West Indies were going to post a massive total. They've got a long road to go from here. Ian was telling you there are just 19 overs left for the West Indies to improve on 102 for 4. Best they can hope for is about 225 from here if things went really well.
You've got to play well to get there, Bob. A run a ball from here on in gets them to 215. Partnerships are what they need. It has to be said they haven't had the best of luck, as we've just highlighted in the last few minutes. But this is a very good pitch, there's no question about that. Partnerships have got going, 34, 29, 31, and then that's as far as they've gone.
How do you think Paul Franks is shaping up, Paul? He's got an opportunity today. Andy Caddick having a rest.
Well, he had a nervy start, didn't he? 4 overs for 21 with a new ball. Didn't get his rhythm, bowled a few no balls, which is something that any bowler should try and eliminate from his game. But he's bound to be nervous, bound to be apprehensive, even though this is his own ground, and he knows it well.
Past Stewart for 4, not where Adams intended. It's a gully in catching position, but no slips.
Sort of bottom inside edge, I think. Shot past Stewart, bounced well short of him anyway. Franks looked suitably aggrieved, as all bowlers do when that happens, but it's peril of playing one-day cricket, I'm afraid.
Jimmy Adams has had a few problems with his technique over the last couple of years. He was a very, very fine batsman when he first played for the West Indies. His test match average shot up into the low 70s and stayed well above 50 for the first half of his career. The second half's been more of a battle for him. Seems to get that front foot a little bit stranded. Very susceptible to being LBW now.
He certainly does early in his innings, I think. Once his feet get going, then it's less of a problem for him. He's struggling with a bit of a knee injury as well, which has dogged him over the last 2 or 3 years. Nothing particularly startling there in the last 3 years. 25 matches he played in 1999. That's pretty good, averaging 37. Already played 18 matches this year.
Craig White coming in for his 7th over. Yeah! It's gone as well. It's a very poor stroke from Ricardo Powell. Disappointing end for him. He's gone for just a single. England well on top here now at Trent Bridge. The West Indies slumping to 107 for 5 in the 33rd over.
Yeah, they're finding all manner of ways to get out, the West Indians. This is a hat-trick of drag-ons. Looking to steer this down third man. Big inside edge. into middle stump, and that's the end of Ricardo Powell. He's gone bowled white for 1.
Ricardo Powell bowled and then dead right for 1.
And the West Indies are 107 for 5.
Don't miss a minute.
And they will be very confident, no matter what the result is today, of taking out this NatWest Series final at Lord's on Saturday against Zimbabwe. Big attraction, the West Indies.
Five to come.
Quickly Jacobs, an average of just under 23 from 52 innings. Has made 5 50s. The West Indies would love him to get a 6th today. Well, Hussain put in a first slip. He could have possibly gone with a second one. Clumsy fielding down on the boundary.
I think Craig White surprises batsmen when they first come in. They don't realise he's quite as quick as he is. It's wide of slip, and the fumble was from Andrew Flintoff down on the boundary. Allows Jacobs to come back for 2.
Craig White caught coach Duncan Fletcher's eye when he came out as a replacement during last winter's cricket in South Africa and Zimbabwe. Was rewarded with a full-time central contract. Very quick bowler for a change bowler. And talking of change, he changes that pace dramatically.
I think he's done well in this series, Bob. He's batted down the order at 7 or 8, and he's very useful down there. Played some big shots at Edgbaston in a very brief but productive innings. And has picked up useful wickets as well, as you can see there. And you can bowl him at any time.
Elam's wide at mid-on, so Mullally's going to win this race for the ball. He's not. The boundary rope wins, beautifully timed.
Yeah, just in the slot this for Jimmy Adams. A very good stroke. Any left-hander that can hit through mid-on is playing well, although it's easier for him with the bowler bowling round the wicket. Just gives him the natural angle to hit there.
Over. Come on, let's get through them.
A better over for the West Indies, 7 coming from it. White now 7 overs, 2 for 21.
Talking about Craig White, I think he's done a really good job, and I thought he did okay at Lord's in the Test match as well. 2 for 21 here today. Economy rate's good. A slippery customer. Wickets today. Sarwan, a trifle fortunate, maybe more than a trifle. Ricardo Powell, the next one to go, also playing on. Some more of a regulation drag on that one though, off the inside edge into middle stump. Well, Franks has got a slip in for Ridley Jacobs, quite right too. Paul Franks takes the ball away from the left-hander. That's his stock delivery.
West Indies really have to work at several aspects of their game to improve in the one-day arena. Kings of one-day cricket when it first started, winning the first 2 World Cups and contesting the final of the third. But recent form is not good. They've just won 12 of their last 33 one-day internationals. I think running between the wickets needs looking at, fielding needs looking at, and building partnerships also needs looking at. Just less than 50-50 Adams' record as captain. Full-length dive, but Thorpe can't get there. Crashing square drive from Jimmy Adams.
It's a tough game at this level. It's only just fractionally wide of off stump, fractionally short, but Adams has launched into that, timed it beautifully, skated away across this very quick outfield. Well, just lost it momentarily. No ball for no ball. It's his 5th no ball. It's something that he can't allow to creep into his game, or he has to eradicate it from his game. Maybe that he's not had any bowling in the middle for a while. He'll have been bowling in the nets. Here he is in the nets, and bowlers do get into bad habits in the nets. That's a big no ball there. And if he's been bowling in the nets like that for the best part of 10 days, then it is difficult when you get out in the middle. There's no excuse at all. He shouldn't be allowed to bowl from there. Whoever's coaching, looking at him and making sure that the nets are run properly, should stamp on that immediately. There's no way that bowlers should steal even an inch in the nets. It leads to bad habits.
Ridley Jacobs are very aware that he and Jimmy Adams should be batting most of the remaining overs of this West Indies innings. 16 overs to go after this next ball. If they score a run and over, England would require 220 to win. That's about the best the West Indies can hope for, I think, from here. Paul Franks, 6 overs, no wicket for 32. That's pretty expensive. Let's have a look where the West Indies have scored their runs, Paul.
Well, majority on the offside, and that's good from the England bowlers' point of view. Just 32 of the 122 on the leg side. A lot down in that third man area. As per usual, we see a lot down there in Test cricket, but for different reasons. Third man not posted in Test cricket. .36 singles, 12 fours.
White round the wicket.
Wide.
Early call of wide from Merv Kitchen as soon as the ball passed leg stump.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too keen on going round the wicket to Jimmy Adams. I think all left-handers really like the right-arm bowlers going round the wicket to them, bowling in at their legs, basically. The only reason, and this is where Craig White benefits, the only reason you'd go round the wicket is because you're swinging the ball away from the left-hander and doing it late, and White does that fairly regularly.
Interesting to surmise where Craig White generates this pace from. His run-up's only about 15 or 16 yards. Doesn't look like a muscle man. I think he's pretty strong though.
He's got a good delivery stride and a very long arc of his bowling arm. Puts an enormous amount of effort in at delivery. Very strong body action. It is just an ambling run really. It's not very long, 12 paces, something like that, but it's just about from here that he starts to gather himself over a braced front leg, gets himself completely off the deck there. And there's a grunt to accompany it all.
Another mini partnership developing. Jacobs and Adams have added 17 at a run a ball. That should really be their target from here, to try and score at a run a ball. It's difficult with just 5 wickets in hand. There's that pace variation again from White.
Fourth fastest in the series, Craig White. Also bowls a good slower ball.
That's the over. We take a drink break.
35 overs completed. The West Indies moving on to 124 for 5 now. Time for the players to have another drink. We'll be back at Trent Bridge in just a couple of minutes. Chris Gale easily caught by Craig White at short extra cover off Mark Elam for 37, 70 for 3. Sarwan also unlucky, dragging the ball on from above head height of Craig White for 20, 101 for 4. And Ricardo Powell suffering a similar fate, 107 for 5 when he was dismissed, 124 for 5 now. Paul Franks into his 7th over, getting a run out for England today. Andy Caddick sitting this one out, resting up for Saturday's final. England should be in confident mood, Paul, for that final. Zimbabwe just gone off the ball a little.
Yeah, Zimbabwe started the tournament really well. The bowling, though, has always not exactly let them down, but been their weakest link, and that's showing up now. England have started slowly and then gone from strength to strength. The bowling has been very strong all the way through. England are not bothered really whether they bat first or bowl first. And Zimbabwe have won 4. I think England are the form horses at the moment.
Alex Stewart's just told Paul Franks to get the ball in straighter to these left-handers, not to give them any room outside the off-stump. That's where a lot of the boundaries have come, with the bowlers giving the ball a little bit too much width.
Better line, much better line. It's on off stump. Can't afford to give these international players any width at all, and Franks will have learnt that already. That's pitching middle and off. And this is exactly the right area.
Graham Thorpe with the direct hit. Good work. He had to change direction. And throw off balance there.
Well bowled again, Franco.
Thorpe has fielded very well in this competition. He's pleased to be back in the England fold and should be back for the next test match if the selectors have any sense.
Alex Stewart said get it and run him out. Well in. Good piece of fielding though. I agree with you, Bob. He's got to be back in England's ranks for the next test.
That'll be 4 more.
There's that width again. Frank's hands on knees, head down. It's a hard school.
Returning at that third end.
Another change of bowling. Alan Mullally is back on at the Radcliffe Road end, replacing Craig White. White 2 for 21 from 7 overs. 6 bowlers used by Nasser Hussain today. We just saw Graham Hick for the 1 over, which cost 6 runs. Been seam up the rest of the time. Alan Mullally will be pushing once again for test match recognition. But the England seam bowling this season, and indeed for recent seasons past, in pretty good order. Mullally's put that down. Difficult chances to take in your follow-through if you're a quickish bowler, but a definite chance.
Well, nobody to blame but yourself. Always hard when the ball's hit back at you and you've just delivered it. And it is hit back pretty quick. I don't think Mullally's seen it. I think it's hit him before he's had a chance to react. Wow. Got sort of half a hand on it. It was more self-preservation than anything else. Very difficult. You have so little time to balance and to get your focus, really. Bowlers' heads go down at the moment of delivery. They may not be watching the batsman, and then the next thing you know, the ball's on you in a fraction of a second. I think Mullally's been one of England's best bowlers, if not the best through the tournament, certainly most consistent. He'll be there for a place in the final on Saturday. It's a key constituent of England's bowling. That economy rate is the thing to look at. Under 3, which is exceptional. Anything under 4 you'd settle for, but under 3 is quite extraordinary.
5 dot balls on Mullally's return. A good move so far by Nasser Hussain. 6 runs and over will only get the West Indies up to 209 from here. Shouldn't be enough on this pitch. There's nothing to say they're going to get that many. Jacobs will have to settle for 1. It's 131 for 5.
know these two, don't you?
Nasser Hussain changing his bowlers in quick succession. Frank's out of the attack. Here comes Mark Elam. And into the attack for us. Here are David Lloyd and David Gower.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, Paul Franks hasn't had an ideal debut. 7 overs for 37. 5 no balls included in that. So it's a question of turning back again now to the more experienced Mark Elam. And if Hussain decides not to go back to Franks, he's got to find 2 overs from somewhere else. Graham Hick has bowled 1 over of off spin for 6. I'd make the point that, in fact, 7 overs for 37, i.e. Paul Frank's bowling figures, 5 and over, just over. Well, we've seen far worse than that from some very experienced players over the years. This is a pretty good pitch at Trent Bridge. So it's only relatively disappointing in the sense that England's bowlers have set such a high standard in this competition. But an economy rate of 5.29.
You're winning, Schultz!
Just got to hurry through. Yes. Very quickly done. Ridley Jacobs is the man under pressure. He's given him out. Third umpire is Graham Burgess. It was a good piece of work from Graham Thorpe, who was very quickly round to it. Had to go to his left, just run round it to get his right hand onto the ball. Got it in quickly, just a fraction high but dead straight. Let's have a look at these bails now.
Just about got off there. Throw sharp. Right over the top. It's been the end of Ridley Jacobs. He's gone for 5. They're in some trouble now. 132 for 6.
Ever had
Brilliant.
Straight away off the mark. Well, West Indies, I think, have been unlucky at times today. Some of the dismissals have definitely had a fair amount of misfortune about them. This was Jacobs a little slow off the mark, maybe a slight misjudgment in terms of calling for the run. Alex Stewart drops the gloves with the ball in on top of the bails. It actually takes some while to pop out of their sockets.
Get hold of it and I'll have it.
I think that's such a strange dismissal, because he's made contact with the stumps and the bails whilst the batsman is way out of his ground. Let's have another look. Ball comes in, he drops his gloves with the ball in, out of his ground, he's made contact.
Get hold of it, saving 2.
It was worth having a little chat about.
On out, pal.
Because, yes, I mean, you have to dislodge the bail, yes, to break the wicket. And as far as you can see there's been one contact with the gloves. There's nothing else that's dislodged them. And we saw the contact with the gloves, with the bat short of the line. So,
So I think the strict interpretation of the law would be about the bails being dislodged and not from the wicketkeeper making contact with the bails. Look at the reaction of Thorpe. He's not sure. He's absolutely not sure. Oh no. He's got the decision. We'll look again. It's in. Makes contact.
Yeah! Oh!
I think Graham Thorpe's reaction is most interesting. Meanwhile, the game continues. 136 for 6, West Indies.
Mullally, for me, has been the most consistent of England's bowlers through this tournament. He's bowled a perfect line throughout, it seems, and his figures throughout have stacked up. He's made life hard for all the batsmen who faced him, Zimbabwe or West Indies. Jimmy Adams still struggling to find the middle of the bat here. Still desperately trying to force the pace with the overs running out slowly but surely.
Look again. In the gloves, down, it's the stumps. Bails come off. Watch Thorpe. He's thrown it. Don't look happy. Got the decision though. These are wonderful spells from Alan Mullally. I'll just go back to that chat that I had with him this morning. Very confident about his bowling. I was quite pleased that we picked up that there has been a change in his action. His head is very, very still now in delivery. His arm is a little bit lower. Just bowled a slow delivery there.
Well, it's a rare wide, just having praised Mullally for his consistency in his line. His figures still look very good despite it. Economy rate under 3 again today. Jimmy Adams on to 36 now. Comfortably his highest score of the tournament. He's had a real disappointing time. Hasn't been able to lead from the front, at least with the bat. That's been part of West Indies' problems. Slow ball has done it yet again. This is a real drag-on of a day for the West Indies.
It's excellent bowling from England. Can't get away from that. Out it says, and it's Jimmy Adams who's gone. Slow delivery, Mullally. Watch the release. Just rolls his fingers across the ball, deceives Jimmy Adams very early on the shot. Nick on, inside edge, onto the left-hander's off stump. 36 he's scored. West Indies now 139 for 7.
Introducing the amazing new Gyrokite, the world's...
And at no stage, none of them has the ball gone through cleanly. It's either been inside edge or a back of the bat or an elbow. So the West Indies entitled to feel that things aren't quite going their way at the moment. They've had a dreadful tournament. I suspect it'll be a huge relief, whatever happens today, even if they somehow conjure a win out of this, a huge relief to get back to a couple of 3-day games, 3 or 4-day games that they play before the test match, and then refocus on that test series.
And again, England 7 inside the circle, new batsman in, predictable. The challenge is to the West Indies batsmen, get through or over this field. You will not get singles. Just not got going as a team in this one-day competition. It's uncanny. There have been some decent pitches, very good pitches, but as a batting unit they've just not fired.
You can sense an attitude problem too as a result of it all. There's everything that's happened over the tournament and so far today. Nagamuchi there, all right, it was always a comfortable one, but at the highest level of international cricket, one-day cricket, you push the fielder, don't you? You're always pushing for the misfield. He didn't bother doing that. Franklin Rose just for a while sort of tried to urge him to do so, but no, can't be bothered.
I think all these things do add up, just the basic things of one-day play. Hustle the fielders, make them rush, look to make errors. If it's leisurely between the wickets, it's leisurely in the field and there is no pressure on them.
Franklin Rose off the mark now.
Pushed back at the end of the over, so there's a single on the offside. There's 3 singles from that over.
Look at that scorecard. The 4 gentlemen, Campbell, Adams, Sarwan and Powell, with that bold beside their name, have all contributed with something of the body or the bat to get that ball back on the stumps. Sherwin Campbell, the first one being really unlucky there with his elbow. And that, we will never see that again. Ranra Salwan will never be able to do that again. No one else will ever do it either. Then he gets the more orthodox drag-ons, inside edges straight onto the stumps. Jimmy Adams may be slightly deceived by the change of pace.
This has definitely worked for England throughout this series. Mullally and Elam bowling together, both being miserly.
Nagamuchi's shaking his head. I'm not quite sure why. He's just missed the ball. Maybe the ball didn't bounce quite as he anticipated, or didn't quite carry through as anticipated.
I'm sure that West Indies are learning to play one-day cricket. To be fair, as a team, I don't think they play nearly as much as the rest of the other cricketing nations. Not one stat from 1998 where I think India played 48 one-day internationals and West Indies only played 12. England only played 15. So you do need to play this form of cricket to get good at it.
Yeah! Oh! 2 halves make a 1.
Well, this is their last chance in this competition. The results so far mean that it's England against Zimbabwe in the final of the NatWest Triangular Series. That's on Saturday. It's on Sky Sports 1 and Sky Sports Extra. Digital viewers get the benefits of our interactive coverage on Sky Sports Extra. Talking of interactive coverage, access channel 404. You get all the extra camera angles, or you can choose the camera angles, put it that way, including that Skytrack camera. It's been whizzing up and down the grounds all the way through this competition. Different camera angles available, highlights from earlier in the day. Mullally giving away just the 1 run from the over. He's been miserly again. 1 more over left for him.
Well, he's come back well into this England outfit. Looks a confident bowler. Not been clattered. Extraordinary 2.96 economy. Just the 7 wickets. Takes the appreciation of the crowd.
This is Mark Elam's last over. Nagamutu certainly pushing that time, that's better. The message has got through from Franklin Rose. You can hear the cries, push him, push him. And the answer is you have to try, of course. Whatever the situation, even if you feel you're below par on the day.
You will win some on the day. In 50 overs you will win some by pressurising the fielder. A little fumble. 1 run can be vital.
Franklin Rose likewise trying to push hard.
Lines that, Ely.
Alex Stewart called through there to Mark Elam. Good lines. Again, been a feature of Elam. Wicket to wicket bowling.
Dive! Push it!
Rare occasion that, from what we've seen. Nasser Hussain has made that position, and also the short extra cover position, sometimes his own. He's been there throughout most of the day. He's dived on plenty, stopped most of them.
Your points here again. Franklin Rose pushes like mad for Nagamutu to run, and he will not run.
Very quiet this time. He and Hussain very similar in what they're trying to do. Different angles. Trying to cut down the angle by being in relatively close. And they're both quick on their feet. Both good at diving left or right to cover the ground, cover the area. And the third man in a similar sort of position, Graham Thorpe there, gets his hands on the ball. Nothing quite so dramatic required that time. But those positions, the man behind point, the man at extra cover, the man at mid-wicket, the principle is the same for every one of them. Get to the ball quickly, cut off the ones, cut off the ball when it's hit hard as well. And hear the call.
ODI.
147 for 7.
Mark Willem, 2 for 37.
Now Mullally about to finish off his spell of 10 now, or his allocation of 10. Mark Elam has just finished his.
No question as to who's in charge out in the middle. Hussain, restored as England captain. He's very vocal out there. Never afraid to just let the players know who is in charge.
Stay up there. Frankie!
I'm in charge. Now this is at Darren Gough, England's #1 Premier bowler. What, me? Well, I'm going to have my say too. A shake of the head. And lets everybody know. He gets a slap on the wrist.
Well, there's no harm in getting your message across. That's the important thing. There are ways of doing it. And between the two of them, I'm sure there'll be a reference to it later in the day. Yeah, what did you mean by that then when you said, come on, pull your what's it out, They'll get over it, they'll have a drink later, especially when they've won the game, and they'll be celebrating being top of the table. That's the plan, of course, at this stage. One assumes from this position they should be winning the game. We'll obviously have to wait and find out.
Well, he will get an opportunity to bowl again, Darren Gough.
Brilliant, Darren Gough.
I've no doubt that he'll have a word with the captain as well. Hardy pals again.
And that was him there, coming in very quickly from the boundary edge, or near to it, and making sure that one didn't become two. For once, Nagamutu had actually pushed. Good piece of fielding. One hand, keep your eye on the ball, get the throw in quickly. As flat as possible, one bounce into the keeper. Good shot, it's cleared the infield. Just Gothic on his way after it. Times the slide perfectly. 150 comes up for West Indies. We're in the 43rd over.
West Indies spectators have not had too much to shout about. The 150 is posted, 7 wickets down.
Worth asking.
Not out, it's over.
There's your answer. Not out. Over. End of Mullally's 10 overs. 10 overs, no maidens, 1 for 29.
Alan Mullally, 1 for 29.
That's how to do it. Another good day for Alan Mullally with the ball. And there's the partnership David Lloyd is referring to. Mullally and Elam, who've had to bowl in mid-innings, which so often is a time when batsmen are starting to accelerate. It's such an important part of the innings too, from the bowling side's point of view. If you can keep control at that stage, stem the flow of runs, it makes a huge difference to the end total, and they've done a wonderful job between them.
It's a good combination, Mullally and Elam. They've both finished. Paul Franks is back into the attack now then.
Well, he's had an average day, Paul Franks. As I said earlier, he's seen far worse performances from seasoned international players at times. That's the nature of the game, one-day cricket. It was a brisk start. He was given the new ball. Brisk start from Campbell and Gale. Hasn't helped with the no balls that have been part of his analysis. At least the situation in the game now is that West Indies are behind par at this stage from what we can judge of conditions. Good pitch, good conditions overall, lovely day for playing the game. He's got a couple of overs to bowl here. Doesn't have to bowl his full 10. Graham Hicker's bowled 1 over off spin. Franklin Rose is a danger man in these closing overs. He wields a mighty bat, gives it a full swing. Paul Franks